came up with a game, and I think it fits really well because we already have some idea how we could. Where is it? Okay, but it might have some place into this platform we created. Before we go into the game, we would like to explain why we came up with the game again, because we had a really hard time struggling to have ideas. And when we came here, Mark told about this huge gap between what the specialties here at EUMETSAT are doing and what the public, the general public at home are doing with the beautiful images. And we wanted to do something in between. And we got here, we see the data, and we have the background in informatics, but we could not have any good ideas. And we thought hard, and perhaps we went one step further before doing something we had to do. And the something we had to do is, if you want the general public to do something with your data, he must feel comfortable with the data. He must know what the data can do, and he must understand the data. So with that in mind, we designed this platform. That's a game platform for EUMETSAT as a first step for people who have no idea or no clue about weather data, so they can get into this data and do something useful with their background. So Tim, please show us the platform.
All right. So we've built a little website for the game. The slogan is understanding the home we share. So what that means is what does the data have to do with our nature? Like, how can we get an intuition for the data? So, if we don't have any clue about the data that we get, what can we learn from it? So, we can start the quiz now. We have 5 example questions. You can take a look at it. So, here's an animation. It's in Southern Africa, and it records something. We don't know what it is, but we can make assumptions about it. So we have a few answers that could be true. In this case, you can see, as Haley already presented, it is the concentration of chlorophyll in the seawater. So the user who doesn't have any clue about the data can make an assumption and see if it's correct. If not, maybe he makes this answer, it's the wrong answer, then he should get an explanation and can learn about what he just saw. We have different types of questions. So there's multiple choice. You can look at images, see satellite images, and yeah, you can again make assumptions about it. So what is this? We don't know anything about it. We could think it's a storm, but it's just the Alps. Okay. Now there's a video, and it shows the cyclone Donna. Okay. We have the video, and we don't know what time period this is. So again, have an intuition about the data we get. In what time period was this satellite video shot? So I'm just gonna guess it's 55 hours, and that was correct. All right. So I think, yeah, let's just. Here. You can also, yeah, you can go further. You can have multiple types of questions. Here you see a hurricane, and you have to guess what direction it will go to. So we have a little image. Would it go to America? Would it drift away? And you can make assumptions about that according to other data that you may get with that, like the surface temperature of the water, the wind speed, etc. Okay. Yeah, and then here you have the answer. We could also, as Luz already explained, we wanted to have a map there. So we could do something very similar to the bottle idea. Yeah, so we would have a map, we would give the data that is relevant in that case, and then yeah, we would let the user make assumptions about the data. And then we would give the right explanation. So it's all about education, about users who are very unfamiliar with data, and they can learn something from that. Right. I think that's it.
Just add something.
Yeah.
So it's not just like we can make something similar to the bottle game, but we could definitely include the bottle game here. And something else, like there are some questions I know not definite answer to it, like the hurricane, you could give some parameters, and it could be a good answer if it has some explanation to it. So just regarding the wind condition, it could go there. It doesn't mean it went there. And something you definitely think would be great to have is like if you hear Mark explain something about hurricanes, you definitely want to know more, you get really excited about hurricanes. So we could just make short films about Haley, Mark, or someone here of EUMETSAT that really loves the data, really loves their work, and we put it at the end. And I guess if a user was not that interested about the beautiful pictures that are already very interesting, if they hear the explanation from someone who really understands the data and likes the data very much, it might spark that interest on the data, and that's all we need. Like, if you need a broad audience to do something with your data, the broad audience must like the data, they must have this interest for the data. And this is a tool that might give interest for the EUMETSAT data to a huge, to a potential very big crowd. And it might also be useful if you want to make, if you want to spread EUMETSAT across different groups. Like we are here all from the TU Darmstadt. It's 20 minutes from the EUMETSAT, and I think maybe 2 of us knew about EUMETSAT. It's really, really sad. So we can change that using this platform, perhaps. Thank you.